Hello, beautiful souls. I am back with another reading in 2026. Happy Imbolc. Today I wanted to celebrate this Sabbath with another reading. This year I will be doing love readings. And I wanted to use the pocket archetypes, or just, the archetypes. I'm using the pocket version and the pink tarot for beginners, but like it's just a tarot deck. And aside from those, actually to help sort of integrate the message, I will be using the Heart Path Oracle cards, miraculous messages of love. I'm doing a different type of reading this year. It's going to be love readings, like I mentioned, because I kind of wanted to use that theme to connect with the collective that needs the messages at this point. For Imbolc, I will be linking all the Sabbaths with a certain chakra. Don't come for me if you think it's the wrong chakra. I really thought this through, and for Imbolc, I wanted to use or sort of link the throat chakra, hence the little turquoise crystal. This is also a new chapter for me, so yeah, I'm a little bit nervous again. But we'll just see how it goes. Very excited to use these. I'm not a professional yet, but I will be using the guidebook a little bit to really ground the messages that come up. We're just going to start with these two, and then, like I said, to sort of integrate the message, I will be using this deck. The message for all the readings actually resemble a certain choice, because I do feel like love, well, I personally, my mind goes to the Lover's card in tarot, and to me that mostly represents a choice that is needing to be made. So for this throat chakra, it will be a choice to speak some certain truth, maybe, or we'll see how it goes. But I want to underline that, and this deck will help you guide through that. So let's just start and see where we go, or where we end up, and go from there. I've cleansed all the decks. Oh my god. I don't know if I should take both of them, but maybe I do. The Hunter and the Maiden. That went super fast. And I will be shuffling the tarot deck for some more messages. So, since this is a love reading, I will be talking about two parties. One will be represented by the hunter, one will be represented by the maiden. It is very possible that you mostly recognize yourself in one or the other, although it is also very possible that there might be some mirroring going on. And in that case, it would also be very possible that sometimes you recognize yourself in one more than the other, or in both, um, in both journeys. Although I do feel like there is a little bit of overlap um, in what I'm receiving from this, but at the same time, they do have very clear, different journeys right now. I do want to say, or maybe highlight, that I would think the connecting energy for you both at this moment in time is your need for rest, your need for laying back and basically sitting down for a minute. So if that's not you at the moment, I don't think this reading is for you. Or maybe you do feel the need to do so, but you're not really resting, in which case I would highly suggest you try to do it because it does feel like you need it. So, what do these two archetypes wish to tell us? I think it is very cool that they both came out. They also follow each other in the deck. Um, to me, it's very, very, very clear that there is some sort of um, runner chaser dynamic going on, even though I also believe that your energies do go hand in hand, because the hunter, well, it does say it itself, it is hunting. um, it is pursuing. But I do feel like the hunter at this point is very blinded by the light of the maiden. And as the maiden, I think I want to ask you the question, if you have some sort of desire to be chased, if you have some sort of desire to be pursued or maybe even rescued. I'm highlighting the rescued question because of the star, because I feel like there is that type of desire within you, but I also feel like you are in the process of healing, healing that wound of wanting to be rescued or saved by someone else, because you are learning, or you are sort of discerning that that is not helpful, and that if anyone should save or rescue you, it would be yourself. But what I'm getting is that you're realizing that by putting yourself in that position, you're losing your own power. So you're slowly but diligently working through that. And I believe that at this time, working on your own craft is what really, really helps you to sort of anchor yourself back into your own power. And you're manifesting a whole bunch right now because you're doing the work. Like the maiden, even though you're very, I feel like you feel vulnerable, which isn't bad. But I want to commend you on doing the work, because you really are. You're not really very focused on the hunter, but it does feel like it's sort of lingering in the back of your mind. And I think I just want to say that that is okay. Just keep focusing on what you're currently doing, because it does feel like you are really, really healing that wound. Now, for the hunter, I I it's really funny because I kind of want to say slow down, which is the reason why I think it's funny is because we're starting the 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 Chinese zodiac New Year of the fire horse. So the energy is very energetic, very dynamic, very persistent, very um, sort of moving forward. Um, but the reason why I said you're blinded is because there's sort of a light flashing towards you. Um, And I think what you currently need most is to sort of surrender to maybe not having the answers, maybe being okay with not really being sure what to do next, and focus on what you have currently in the here and now. Because you're moving and moving and moving, and you want to maybe pursue, maybe you want to really go for what makes you feel so alive, which mostly involves the maiden. But that also means that you're not really enjoying what you have currently, which is quite a lot, even enough to give back to others. Um, the question is this a good matchup? Because I feel like the collective is asking me that. Um, the answer is I don't really know. I think it wouldn't be such a bad idea to maybe get some more cards, because currently you're both feeling the need to rest, but what is the love between you? I think that's the question you're asking. And here is the answer. It's very stable, or I should say, it can become very stable as long as the maiden keeps continuing her work and maybe the hunter acknowledges their need to slow down. But yeah, it is a very stable energy. But there is some worry. And I kind of want to know, why is there so much worry? Maybe let's start with the maiden. Why is there so much questions or worries? Okay, because there is a lot of passion. And you're not sure, is this just passion or is it more? Oh, and you're also looking back, holding on to maybe another life, another relationship. I'm not sure. Could be a couple of things. Maybe one more card. I think you're worried about taking it slow because of the passion, also worrying that maybe that will fade away for the hunter if you take it slow. And also, oh, there's also something hidden. This card just wanted to come out. It's the moon. Um, there's there's something hidden within your connection, and I think part of it is you looking back, holding on, not being really sure how to move forward. That's very, I would say, confusing to the hunter, but not in such a way that, I mean, they're still very enamored and blinded by your beauty, by who you are. That's still there. Maybe because it's a connecting energy, maybe the hunter also has something there. I don't want to say hiding, but maybe not telling you right now. Same for you. So let's see. All right, they're very burdened and worried. Mostly burdened. They are managing, and I feel like they want to tell you, but I think they're like, I'm also going to be a burden for telling you. They're also very focused on I want to say, gaining more of what they already have. And I feel like you know this. So I think I would say you're definitely not a bad match. But this feels maybe a little new, a little. It also feels very excited, but also very grounded. It feels like this. You both feel like, in a way, you're even meant to be. But I feel like that scares you and that worries you, because that would also mean you having to leave another life, your old life, behind. So that does make sense why you would want to take things slow and why you're still healing, and maybe you do feel like you want to be saved by them, but you also realize that that's kind of bonkers. Like, no, because I feel like the current situation that you're in doesn't really require you to be saved. Um, and the hunter does realize that, but they're so attracted to you. They're very passionate. Um, they also feel that this is very much meant to be, but they also feel that you're holding back, and they realize they're also holding a little bit back, but not in the same way. Like, you're holding back sort of the feelings that you have because you're still overcoming certain things and you want to take it slow. They're holding back on sharing how burdened they feel, even though they do realize that you would probably not see it that way and that you would want to be there for them. But it does give me sort of an inkling of, I don't want to mess this up by scaring you away with all my problems, all my issues. It feels like, feeling wise, you're feeling pretty much the same thing, but you're both in your head in different places. And that doesn't really feel like it's connecting very much right now. I would just say give both of yourselves a little break here, because you're both kind of worried about different things that do have an effect on the relationship, but not in the sense that you're fearing like, if I'm going too slow, will I use them? They want to pursue you and you want to be pursued by them. But I think it would be nice for them to be reassured that you do feel very similarly, and maybe I think it would be helpful if you would speak your truth, that you're still holding on or holding back, where you want to take things slow, because they don't know that right now. And they're also in their own head. Um, and if you're the hunter, I think you're afraid to tell the maiden what's going on with you, because you're so thriving on the passionate feelings right now. But I think it would be most helpful if you would try to slow down a little bit and figure out what it is you want to do or say. Yeah, think that's I think that's the biggest part of the reading. I'll finish with the Heart Path Oracle cards. Right now I'm actually looking for some guidance on what to speak to each other, or what should the maiden focus on telling the hunter. It says the journey, nothing is as it seems, so I'll just show you. Nothing is as it seems. Being true to yourself. And then for the hunter, what would be helpful to speak to the maiden? Elevation. Gaining the advantage. So I want to start with the journey. Nothing is as it seems, being true to yourself. So we see a canoe with a lotus, and then a man with a ladybug, and a wolf with a goose, some honeycombs, bees, sort of a portal, and a pearl, which is a lot. But I think what would be helpful to speak, or to speak up about, is how you just want to be true to yourself, and you're feeling that you're feeling feelings towards them, but you also feel like you still need to release certain emotions from past life, well, not past life, like an older life or an older chapter in this current life is what I'm saying, or what I mean. And you're still working through that, and you're still working on yourself, and that you feel like you want to take things slow because that feels the most right to you right now. And that is a choice you have to say. I think it would be very helpful for you to be courageous at this time to express that and keep expressing yourself how you see the world. With the elevation card for the hunter gaining the advantage, what we see is snow leopard. This is, I think, a marmot. I think this is popcorn with some kernels. This is another portal with like a tree, also with popcorn, and a baseball field, an orange sun, and a moon. I think I want to deliberately say that it isn't about gaining the advantage over the maiden. I think the hunter is very focused on creating more for themselves. And I feel like, I don't know, I keep getting like more money, more problems. So I feel like that's part of the burdens that you're carrying. And I think I want to remind you, but this is also true for the maiden, to work through the negative self talk or bringing yourself down or doubting yourself, and to keep focus. But I also want to really urge you to make a conscious choice whether you just want to keep going and move forward and keep going with the momentum, or if you think it might be wise right now at this point in time to sort of, yeah, again, slow down and see where your advantage might be, or what your goal is. Because at this point, I feel like you're a really good thinker and you really are able to ground things into sort of, it is sort of manifestation, like ground it into the 3D and what we see in our reality. But I do feel like you're kind of losing your focus and you're just doing what you're used to do. So as a snow leopard, which is very, or which is an animal that is more, how do you say, or moves in solitude, like they don't really move in a pack like lions would do. And I'm getting a little bit of a deceptive energy, but not like that would make you a bad person, but it's just like you're also very intuitive in knowing which door to take, or where you would position yourself a little bit more in the background, or when you would move for your target or your goal. But it is feeling a little bit like you've kind of, yeah, I want to say lost your focus, but I don't think that's really accurate. I think you know your goal and you want to elevate yourself. But at the same time, you're going at such a speed that it would be wise to use your natural abilities of sort of knowing which way you want to go. So what what would it be that you would be able to choose to tell the maiden is, I think most of all, kind of also who you are. But I think you first should probably ground yourself so you're very articulate in how you want to speak to the maiden about that. Because you are juggling a lot of stuff. And the maiden does know that, but it feels, I think it does, I think I'm speaking for the maiden, that it does feel a little bit deceptive on your part, even though I'm sure you're not trying to be. But I also feel like you're not really seeing that because you're so into the maiden, and the maiden is more, a little bit more, not really guarded, but just a little bit more careful, and isn't really quite sure how to put two and two together. So I think for you, it would be very wise to sort of figure out which way you want to go first, and then sort of follow the example of the maiden, actually, to sort of speak true and vulnerable. Because I do feel like the passion that you feel for each other, it's there. um, you're really fond of each other. But the maiden is working on herself and taking it slow. And you're running really fast. So the pace is not really matching right now, and maybe that's sort of the doubts. Well, that's a little scooter. Maybe those are confirming sort of doubts is maybe the wrong word, but like caution for the maiden. And I think if you would be able to explain your point of view really to the maiden, like you can choose to do that, that would be very helpful. But first, you would have to be able to sort of realize, what is my point of view here? Because you're so blinded by your passion and your love for her. And it feels like you want to thrive on that and sort of keep going because you don't want to really think about all the worries or burdens because they sprout even more negative self-talk. And even though I can understand that, or I can get that, but it isn't going to be helpful in the conversation. So I think the biggest message for the both of you is to try and take care of yourselves first, and maybe choose to explain your point of view to each other, and being vulnerable, and sort of not really go past the passion, but sort of not base all of your actions on the passion, which the maiden does realize. The hunter, I think you intuitively realize it, but you're not consciously there yet. All right. I think I'm going to close the reading here. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you gained some perspective from the cards and the messages and the guidance coming from those messages. I want to thank you again. Happy Imbolc, and maybe I'll see you for the next one. Bye.